أكبر الله أكبر
حي على الصلاة
الله أكبر الله أكبر
حي على الصلاة
الله أكبر
Arise, giving all praise to Allah, the Father of the universe, cherisher and sustainer of all the balanced universes. We extend the highest of honors to His Holy Divine Prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the founder, the Moorish Science Temple of America. Islam. We extend high honors as well to its forerunner, the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, the founder of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, who did indeed warn and stir up the nations. Islam. We extend high honors as well to the Moorish flag, the red flag with the 5-pointed green star in the center. These 5 points represent love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. These are the 5 highest principles known to man. Islam? Extend high honors as well to the American flag, also known as the Stars and Stripes. This flag exists as a constant reminder that the European nations owe you, the Moors, with compound interest. Islam? Extend high honors to the noble Sheik staff and noble Vanguard staff for keeping the peace, and giving honors to you, the Ills and Bays, for without you, there is no Moorish movement. Islam, Moors? How's everyone on the holy night?
Praise Allah.
Praise Allah. Praise Allah. Firstly, I'd like to say we are in gross violation right now, because we have our sisters sitting on the back row. What y'all mind sitting up front? See, the prophet said something about symbolic right being introduced.
Yes, sir. Come on,
You know, and when we have our sisters sitting in the back, subconsciously we think that they need to be there. We can't raise our nation
Come on, brother.
without our sisters.
Come on, brother.
So this is your rightful place. Islam?
Islam.
Praise Allah. Today I'd like to touch on a brief topic. And I'll be drawing from several sources because it's just necessary to do so to elucidate the topic. But I like to draw on the topic of society. Okay, just to give you a background of myself, I'm originally from New Jersey. In the area, in the region of New Jersey that I'm from, I was raised around a lot of various different free national groups, a lot of different pedigrees of Europeans. Okay, so in my hometown you have a lot of Jews, large Jewish community, large Italian community, Polish, some Greeks, and so on and so forth. As a child growing up with the marks, Negro, Black, and colored, the only thing that we had in our areas that we refer to as the hood, the only thing we had was our projects. Right? When we wanted anything, we had to go in one of the other prospective areas to obtain those things. Right? So I always realized, like, why don't we have what they have? Islam? What do they have that binds them together that is just common sense for them to build their own community? Islam? We'll parallel that with another story and then we'll get into our topic. When I was in the 6th grade, my teacher thought it'd be a wise idea to throw what she called a culture day.
Uh-oh.
You see where I'm going, Sheik?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How does that become problematic? It becomes problematic because you think everything's all right until you get in a room full of people with cultures and nationalities and you don't have one. All right? So on Culture Day, my teacher whose nationality was Italian. She thought it'd be a wise idea for, okay, Culture Day, you come in, you bring your flag, right? You bring your foods, right? You bring music from your culture, right? And when the music is playing, you have to perform a dance from your culture, right? And you have to bring a food, particular food from your culture, right? So when that day came, we had, there was a large Puerto Rican community. So called, first person was Puerto Rican. He came up. This is my flag. I'm from Puerto Rico. This is my flag. We brought like arroz con pollo, chicken and rice. Arroz con pollo sounds fly, right? This is just chicken and rice, right? But the point is, he had a dish that he brought everybody sample. You know what I'm saying? He played the music, did his dance. So whatever, with everybody on the floor. Praise Allah. Welcome to the family of nations. Have a seat. You're welcome. All right. Next person comes up. I think they were Italian. Okay. Brought pizza. Brought various different dishes, pasta dishes. Everybody tried. He did his dance. This is the flag of Italy. Islam? Praise Allah. Welcome, teachers, right now in grades, right? Called me at the time. I said, I don't have anything. She said, what do you mean? I said, well, I don't have a flag, right? I'm wise enough to know that ham hocks and black eyed peas are slave food. I knew that in the 6th grade. So I was like, I'm not bringing that. Right? Yeah, we've created hip hop and breakdance and nothing, but I'm not gonna be up in windmilling in front of nobody. We ain't doing that today, right? I was like, so I guess I just have to take the 0. And what's interesting was My teacher looked at me, her eyes filled up with tears. She said, stay after class, I have something for you. And she went on everybody else, right? So, bell rings, everybody leaves. She calls me to the desk, I'm feeling like trash. Everybody else, you know, why don't I have what they have? She says, you know what, I'm gonna have to do a report. And the report, if you do it and you know, you get a good grade, I'll mark that as this project. I said, okay, well, what's the project? She said, I want you to do a report on the city of Granada in Spain. Okay. So I go and I, go to the library and do this research now. The Moors, but it don't register because I don't know I'm a Moor. Right? It's created, mathematics and astronomy. The Alhambra. This is my sixth grade report. I'm writing all this down, right?
Wow.
And sixth grade bubble writing in the whole nine.
Wow.
So I turned it into her and she looked, she smiled. She said, you got a good grade on this. This is good. She said, you're gonna need this later.
Wow.
Remember some of this stuff.
Wow.
I said, okay, forgot about it. I didn't meet the Prophet Noble Drew Ali till 2001. I'm 45, you do the math, right? So I'm just saying all that to say, all the other groups that had their respective flags and their culture and their nationality intact, what they have that we don't have is a society that binds them together. Their society reinforces the cultural norms, the pedigree norms, their particular ideals and principles and virtues. You see what I'm saying? So when they separate into the world and they're around other people that are not what they are, right? They have a society to back them up, even if they have to be independent and stand on their own and say, well, I don't do that. That's what y'all do. Because he has a society he can go back to. When he catches the ridicule, he can go back. They're like, but you got us.
That's right.
Islam?
Islam.
See, Allah so loved the world that he gave us our prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Y'all thought I was going to say Jesus did.
You did.
If you know, I'll get that shit. If you know what I'm saying, you know that is what I said.
Islam.
But Allah, think about it now, right? Most of our people know, much of what most of our people know about us is the slavery situation, right? Now imagine what relative to what you know of it, because much of it is not exactly what you think it was, but there was a lot of trauma. Imagine all that anguish going out to the universe, the cries from the rapes, cutting limbs, and separating children, the auction block. Think about the auction block.
Wow.
Right? Well, when our elder Grand Sheik's brother, Clarence Pray for Ill, does a phenomenal demonstration where he actually in the temple set up a slave block. He'll bring a sister and a brother and some children, put them up on a slave block and auction them off.
Wow.
Just so the temple could get that feeling of what that was. Right? Where you're taking more might get up there with his flares on the block. And so now we got to take that off because you're on the slave block. You don't have a nationality, we're going to take that. We're going to take these free national garments from you, right? We're going to give you tattered clothing and so on and so forth, right? But imagine all that anguish going out to the universe, right? Now, if you believe in a great God, which our people always have, right? Let's address that. Because, we've become so wise, pretended wise. We've become so wise, we think that, we don't need the great God anymore. We think that there's nothing higher than ourselves or our own ego. But you can't show me a period of time, in golden age or otherwise, where we didn't believe or have faith in, a Most High. Whatever the cultural name for it was there. But imagine all that anguish going out, and that supreme intelligence receiving that. It says, okay, I gotta send these people something. Because through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery. Islam? All right, every nation, right? They may not have gone through it the way we have.
Yes, sir.
That's clear.
Yes,
right?
Sir.
We have a specific brand.
We do.
However, right, every nation has suffered. So as a result, if every nation has suffered it, and they were sent something to bring them and to redeem them, what does the word redeem mean? One?
Bring back.
Something back, but it's restore or to literally to purchase back. Right? If I pawn this ring, and I go to the pawn shop, how much you give me for this? I give you $50 for. They're never gonna give you what it's worth, right? You have to give you a ticket, right? And then you come back when you're able to with the money to redeem it, to purchase it back. A redeemer is one who's willing to pay the price. Islam? Prophet Noble Drew Ali was a redeemer. Marcus Garvey was a redeemer. These are ones that paid the price. These are ones that put their lives on the line so that we can be in this room right now having this discussion.
Yes, sir.
There was a period of time you couldn't get a bunch of Asiatics in a room without Europeans busting it up.
That's right.
Islam.
Islam.
Our own society had to be established so you could do this, pursuant to our Constitution, right? I digress. So now, society must be established for us to demonstrate and reinforce our principles. Islam? I'd like to take a reading from, this is a phenomenal book. If you don't have it, please acquire a copy of it. It's called Marcus Garvey's Message to the People. This book is kind of his inner circle. Okay, this was Marcus Garvey's, third heaven, attic chamber. And this book was later declassified and put it out for everyone to read. But this is how he was telling people to govern the UNIA, the Universal Negro Improvement Association. He has a section in here entitled The Social System. A cognate form of the word society is the word social. So it's to demonstrate society. In fact, the first word in there, Lesson 8, social system, it says, society is an organization of mankind to safeguard and protect its own interests. When society is organized and is made evident by regulations, rules, and laws, every member of that society must obey the said rules, regulations, and laws. Must is a master's word. If you look in our divine constitution and bylaws, just look at Act 7 alone, when the prophet, how many times he used the word must, right? Because again, in Islam, we teach that, there's no compulsion in religion, that we're not to compel one another. But Allah can compel you to do a particular thing, because Allah is the sovereign of all sovereigns. Islam? All right? So, it must be, reinforced. If you have laws, what good is it? Act 1 of, the Divine Constitution bylaws. The Grand Sheik and the Chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is the power to make law and enforce laws of the assistance of Prophet, Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheik is the Assistant Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Islam? So we're empowered to make law and enforce laws. So what good is it if you make law but don't enforce them? Much of the problems that we have in our organized groups is that we know what the laws are, but we don't abide by them. Islam? And as a result of us not abiding in them, all the chaos that takes place is a result of that. Right? There's a cause and an effect. That's the effect. Going forward, it says, therefore, always live up to the organized system of society of which you are a part. The only alternative to this is rebellion. You should never join rebellious movements against society, except when there is good reason and justification for it. I don't know where all this, these various different groups pick up Marcus Garvey's name and, almost make it equivalent to overthrowing the government. That was not his position. Islam? It says society is intended to maintain the greatest good for the greatest number, and that is always uppermost, so that in thought you may have to reform. You have that word in your Quran too, right? When John the Harbinger was speaking to the Israelites. Any society must be calculated to bring about the greatest good for the greatest number, and you must, the word again, obey its laws. Otherwise, you are an evil genius living in the midst of that society, and that society will seek to destroy you or compel you to obey its rules, regulations, and laws. You cannot live by yourself in a society. All men are bound by cords to every other living thing. You must live up to the goodwill of your fellows. Therefore, in that society, you must respect everything that tends to the good of all. You should always seek to have something at stake in the community in which you live, property of some kind, so as to merit the regard and respect of the community. Society, as it is organized into a community, counts first its worthwhile citizens before it thinks of others. This is something we miss, because if you don't have a vested interest in a particular district, when laws are being made and enforced, you're not counted in that.
Right.
Islam, when budgets are being allocated, you're not at the table. Yeah. You're not there because you don't have a vested interest and you don't attend the meetings. Prophet says, attend your meetings properly, right? That's practice for the secular society.
Yes, sir.
See, what we're doing right now is practice for government work.
Absolutely.
See, we're not gathered here just to do it because we don't have nothing else to do. We're practicing government right now, so we have to go to a city council meeting. We don't know how to conduct ourselves as civilized citizens. Islam? That's why our prophet noble morality gives us. Right? It says property in a community is evidence of your status in the society of the community. If you have no property, have something of substantial value. The police, the officials, and the government recognize property holders as the citizens of first claim in an organized society. They are generally recorded to be identified. Therefore, you must teach the people to own property and to be known and recognized members of the community. Another phrase from the forerunner, Marcus Garvey, says, never hide from the government. Always let them know who you are. But see, when you're under the mind state of Negro, black, and colored, you hide. You run and hide for no reason, right? How many of your people, our people, and I'm saying your people in terms of family members, so on and so forth, how many people do you have that you know that fill out the census report when it comes around? Not one hand up. Why? Why don't we fill it out? I don't want them people know. I don't want them people know what's going on in my house. What else?
Yep.
That's the main one, right?
Yep.
Right? But the point is that why is the census important?
So they can know what's going on, how many people in the world, what's going on.
How ancient is the census, the taking of the census?
Very.
That didn't start with the 13 colonies.
No, it didn't.
Islam, that goes back way back in the Asiatic cultures.
Yes, it does.
And the European nations learned that from you.
That's right.
Islam, the paying of taxes is not new.
That's right, boy.
Islam,
Teach them.
give an example. The masjid in Jerusalem, Masjid al-Aqsa. Right? Y'all see that beautiful gold dome that's on top of it? The Sultan in that day went around and collected gold coins from every citizen, right? Because this was going to be a national mosque, right? Every citizen, gave up gold coins to be melted down to create that dome, right? You go around all the state capitol buildings, you see the gold domes that are on top. Where do you think they learned that from? Islam?
Islam.
Right? Because as a symbolic right, that's showing the citizen's contribution to government, right? And the forerunner, Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, and Prophet Noble Drew, because you got to have them both. Okay, can't have one without the other, right? Both of them were demonstrating civic, not national and divine. We'll say civic and spiritual, or civic and religious. Islam? All right. Moving forward, a couple more paragraphs. I want to burn those. It says, always adopt a friendly attitude towards the police in your community, because the police is that civil body of officials who are supposed to protect the citizens and see that their rights are not infringed upon. You should always welcome the police. The police are never the public enemy, but the public protector. Now, in 2018, that paragraph seems out of place. Doesn't it? Right? But is it out of place or are we out of place?
We out of place.
Because whose duty is it to make sure the police don't go too far?
The citizens.
The citizens.
That's right.
But if you don't look at yourself as a citizen, which is most of our people's problem, we have a disenfranchised mentality,
Yes.
right? So they can demonstrate billy club tactics on our people. They can demonstrate bullets in the back tactics on our people, right? And we cry, we scream, we have a fitness streak, just like children do, right? But we don't get in the legislative side of it and make sure laws are enacted to prevent stuff.
Teach more.
These things from happening.
Islam.
Islam?
Islam.
Right? When are we going to get on the right side of it? Not after it happened, not after another child gets killed. But when are we going to put somebody in the office, right? Better yet, not just picking a random Asiatic to get behind. When are we going to groom our own?
Good question.
One from among, you know the power of that? You know other nationalities do that, right? They pick one from their society to get behind, right? Because, they know there's a power in being able to go, after office hours, being able to go to the person's house. Remember you said you want to pass? Or get behind such and such. What's going on with that? Right? Anybody know Keisha Lance Bottom's address? You do? All right. Most of us don't. Right? Mayor of Atlanta.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Most of us don't. And most don't have the relationship with her that you could go to her house and do that and get a favorable reply. Right? Or call her, have her on speed dial, call her up. I'd like to have lunch with you. We need to go over a few things relative to our community. Islam? All right. That's what the Moorish movement is about.
Teach them.
So there's a lot of lies about our movement. There's a lot of lies circulating about our prophet. And it's our duty at every occasion to stop the lies and address them. Islam? Because we're being misrepresented. One more paragraph in this section and I'll move forward. It says, never join to incite public disorder. Keep away from it and be innocent to all that happens by way of revolution. Never allow the UNIA's name, you could say the MST of that, More Science for America as well, name to be mentioned among the rioters. You will destroy the usefulness of the organization in that community and may cause suspicion to be cast upon it in other communities. Islam wars? The Prophet said that it doesn't take much to destroy the influence of good work. Right? Good leadership.
That's true.
Islam?
Islam.
I'd like to draw from chapter 25 in our Quran. Right? Everyone West Quran, please, chapter 25.
Teach them more.
Praise Allah, boy. You're acting as our soul dictates, man. Chapter 25. This is what we refer to as the A Holy Covenant of the Asiatic nations. Now, it's a point I like to make clear prior to reading this or demonstrating this. You know, it doesn't say the Holy Covenant of the Moorish nation. It says the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic nation. Right? It's inclusive of our entire race. Right? One thing that our pedigree is lacking is a code. Right? I went and spoke at a school a few weeks ago, high school in South Atlanta. And I asked the young people, how many of you in here have a code? They had no idea what I was talking about. I might as well have been speaking High German or French. They had no idea what I was talking about. It's okay. How many of y'all have something that you live by? Still didn't know that. Okay. How many of y'all have mothers who have rules in their house? Okay, everybody. Okay. Okay. Then we started getting it to the point where they could understand what a code was. But see, what I'm saying is this was a group of ninth graders. They're a few years out from graduating high school, becoming adults in the society, without knowing what the code was. See, a code is something you're supposed to learn about that late. A code is something that you're supposed to be raised in.
That's right.
Right? Example, there's a discipline relative to spending your dollars. Right? That you're supposed to know, which we're going to get into this, that you're not supposed to prefer others before your own. Right? The brother Dick Gregory, may Allah bless his soul, peace be upon him. He said, before you spend your dollar next time, he said, look in the eyes of the person that you're spending the dollar with. If they don't look like yours, withhold your dollar. He didn't mean brown eyes. I mean, he talking about that. He talking about the spirit of the pedigree, of the nationality of the person. If it's not the same as yours, withhold it. Islam? When was the last time you seen a group of Chinese people at one of our restaurants?
Oh.
When was the last time you seen brothers at Chinese restaurants? Respect to the Chinese. But when was the last? All the time. If it wasn't for our dollars, they'd go under. And I'm saying this not to be radical agitating, but just to bring the awareness. Islam, and this is not hatred. This is just what it is. And a lot of times we delude ourselves as to what it is and how we should circulate our dollars.
Islam.
I just
want to raise one more question as well. In addition to what the Moor just said, when was the last time you seen a soul food restaurant in Chinatown?
You're not gonna see it. Absolutely. And how do they stop that? Does anybody know?
Or in China?
Quite cheap.
Yes, sir.
How do they stop that? How do they?
Politics.
What aspect of politics? Where do they go to stop it?
Zoning.
Planning and zoning. Anybody ever been to a planning and zoning meeting?
No.
It's vicious. That's wrong. And see, the part about the planning and zoning meetings, I'm gonna get to you in a second, Holy Prophet. The planning and zoning meetings are interesting because there's a side to it that we don't see. The side to it that we don't see is that there's a pedigree of people, right, that back politicians financially, contribute to their campaign donations, so on and so forth. So by the time the meeting takes place, right, the council person or the alderman, whatever your respective title is, he's sitting at the table, the council table, he's looking out. He knows the one that he's been beholden to, right? So when it comes to passing certain things, he knows he has to get behind certain things. If not, he's going to have to answer to that particular constituency. Islam? Right? So, like right now, the LGBTQ, whatever.
Why?
Right? Why? And I'm not saying this to make fun of them. I'm saying this to say the political program of the Prophet Noble Raleigh, everything he told you to do, they're doing right now.
Come on.
And look at what they have.
Tell the truth.
Right? 10 years ago, here in Atlanta, little 5 points. Right? Some brothers, they got an altercation, 2 brothers, with a European who was homosexual. And the homosexual blew a kiss at him or something. The brothers beat him up. And while they were beating him, they were calling him the derogatory terms relative to their particular, what they're into. So, not only did they catch the aggravated assault charge, which is already in the state of Georgia, 1 to 10 years. 1 to 10 years. They caught the hate crime demonstration, which added an extra 15. Right? So these brothers are looking at 25 years. Now, how does that get passed? Because they got together as a constituency.
Absolutely.
Saying, we want this outlawed. Right? The F word relative to homosexuals, and y'all know what I'm saying,
Yes, sir.
is unlawful. But Negro, Black, and colored is still legal.
Oh, man.
Which means the homosexual community got more power than you.
That's our fault. Islam.
Truth hurt them. Truth is not something that that's why we shy away from it. Because when truth is told, it's supposed to make you change. Truth is supposed to make you feel uncomfortable. Right? Because it's only in the midst of you feeling uncomfortable that you change. Islam?
Islam.
Right? Let's get to this covenant. What is a covenant, by the way?
A solemn agreement
Before who?
for the person you make an agreement with.
Let's do this. Contract is secular, right? Covenant, you said solemn, which invokes sacred. So this is before Allah. Islam? But they're the same energy. One is just divine, one is natural. All right? So it says, this is, I like everybody, we're going to do this together.
Yes, sir.
We in this together, are we?
Yes, sir.
I don't believe y'all. We in this together, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, praise God. I'm just making sure I wasn't by myself.
That's right.
I mean, if I had to stand by myself, I'd do it.
We got you, Mo.
There's not Moors in this room. I'm just saying.
We got you back, GG.
All right, let's get there. Let's get there. Ready? Instruction 1. Ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother has given you suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. Islam? Surely Allah speaks the truth to his holy divine prophet, noble Drali. Islam? Now, is there anything in that covenant that you can't get behind? Let's do a verse. I'll do a verse. There's only 5 verses. Ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother have given you suck. You know, it's not a strange happening for, when you come across another one that looks like you, it's the same image and likeness as you, to refer to them as brother or sister. That's not strange to us. You know, there's a connection between us that we don't take time to think about. You know, brothers, y'all know that thing when you're walking down the street, you see another brother, you might not want to speak to him because you're in your man energy, right? You know how we do, you flowing, right? Or you see him, you want to acknowledge him now. That's in you to acknowledge him.
That's right.
That's just recently, brother, stopped doing that. Right? But you saying what you do. Right? I acknowledge you, acknowledge me. Now, mistake, what you mean? I bow to the divinity in you.
That's right.
That's what the nod is all about. We've been doing that thousands of years.
Sir.
Right? An elder told me a long time ago what the origin of that nod was that, it was days and times when, after the overthrow happened, when the Europeans stripped us of our power, or we forsake our power, we gave our power up, that we'd be in environments where it could pop off at any time.
Right.
You never know, You generally don't have anything to worry about with Europeans when they're by themselves. But when there's groups of them, they get this real hard.
Just a fact. Just a fact.
Brother Adar, could you stand up for a second?
Absolutely.
Take a look at my brother right here.
Islam.
When a European is by himself and he see my brother right here,
Fear.
terrified.
Yep.
Absolutely terrified. Brother didn't do nothing. If you know this brother, he's the most cheerful brother in the world.
Absolutely.
Most cheerful brother in the world. He just say, it say Islam to it, automatically bring a smile to your face.
Yep.
But they see my brother, and automatically, I guarantee you didn't just get that small yesterday. That size yesterday.
Right.
So you've been in that size for a while.
Right.
You haven't seen him, right? But they see my brother, they get terrified, right? But it's a group of them. They say, okay, well, we want to prove that we are the truth by taking him down. Islam. But the nod came out about that if there was another brother in the room, and he seen all them Europeans, seen his brother, I got you. Just go off. I'm going to act like we don't know each other. But if I go down, I'm going to come out of nowhere and bring rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes.
All of it.
All of it down.
All of it.
We say the wrath of Allah.
Right.
7 times. Islam. Praise Allah. But we advocate peace and not destruction.
Absolutely.
Right? But the point is that, it's not a strange happening for that connection, to acknowledge that connection. Right? So when the prophet's telling us that you are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother has given you suck, we know that already. Right? We know we got the same ancestry. Right? So we should have the same principles. Right? So he moves forward in verse 2, instruction 2. It says, let the bonds of affection. What is a bond? To be bound by something. Anybody have handcuffs on? Right? You have handcuffs on that limits your range of movement. Correct? Similar to when you circumscribe yourself, you use your compass, right? Chapter 5 tools, right? And you put that circle around yourself, to create boundaries for yourself, right? That I won't go past this right here. Islam, right? So it said, let the bonds of affection. So our affection, we should be bound to have affection to one another. It's not optional. He removed the option with that right there, right? You should be bound when you see another Asiatic, right? You should have love for them, regardless of their condition, right? Love and demand not love in return, right? You see another Moorish American, you should automatically be bound to have affection for them, right? We have to get there though. This is why Act 2 is why Prophet gave us our holy day, so we can remind each other of love and affection.
Yes, sir.
Right? So it said that our forefathers would have never seen slavery if they would have kept the holy day holy. They would have never saw it. Right? In the ancient time when the Sultan, what's the title given to our ruler in Morocco? Sultan. When the Sultan was, ruling the land, the Imam back in those days, which was the leader of the prayer, he'd be demonstrating. The Sultan couldn't just be in the palace while the prayer was going on. He had to come out and get in the ranks with everybody else. Right? Because he's one of the nation, and he's a Muslim too, supposedly. He's not, that's for the people, and that's 10 Commandments, that's something else. That's Islam. But the point is that we got to get back to the point of demonstrating that affection. When I see another Moor, and this is, I'm addressing Moorish problems, Moorish American problems at this point. And this is for those that don't know what I'm talking about, I'll clarify. The grand body argument, right, is one that should be declared out at this point. Because it doesn't matter. Because the apparent differences that we like to point out, which is merely the Negro problem flaring back up within us with fezzes on. Yeah. The apparent differences shouldn't matter because ultimately, if I had a bunch of Moors in a room with fezzes, I'm talking about the Prophet's Moors, and I asked you, Moors, who made you?
Allah.
Who is Allah?
Allah is the Father of the universe.
Can we see him?
No.
Where's the nearest place to meet Allah?
No.
Now, when you generally meet most of the Prophet's Moors, regardless of their particular lineage or line of descent, that's how they answer.
Yes, sir.
All of our Qurans read the same way.
Yes, sir.
Islam?
Islam.
Very seldom do you see Moors who do not honor the Prophet Noble Tribe. Generally, if we out of sync with one another, when you invoke the name of the Prophet, generally, not always, but generally they're falling.
That's right.
With Islam, Prophet. Nobody's arguing with the Prophet, because we clear on he was who he said he was.
That's right.
Not because he said it, but because he demonstrated.
That's right.
Islam?
Islam.
Here at Temple 19, we've always strived to keep the Prophet's doors open to whatever Moorish American Muslim or Asiatic that want to come through the doors. We don't care what your grand body is, your line of descent, we don't care. As long as you demonstrate these principles that are contained within this holy record, all is well.
Islam.
Islam?
Islam.
And throughout, those bonds of affection, we'll find our way back to the Prophet.
Yes, sir.
If we practice the principles, right? But if we don't practice the principles, and we're like, well, that one got brown shoes on with a suit, no, I can't get behind that. Praise Allah. Put that aside, I'm not even gonna stop. All right? The argument, as silly as that sounded, there are arguments amongst Moorish Americans that are that petty.
Yep.
You see? Now I have to ask, and with this I'll go to the next verse. How pleased do you think our Prophet is with us? Okay, because the Quran of Mecca says that don't say those that die in my way are dead, but they live on. So we don't believe that the Prophet is dead, do we?
Yes, sir.
Do Muslims believe in death? No.
Yep. It's an illusion.
It's a friend, actually.
That's right.
Right? So we don't believe that because while Allah lives, man cannot die. Islam was?
Islam.
All right? So the Prophet Noble Drew Ali would not be pleased with us. I'll speak for myself. Prophet Noble Drew Ali was the father that I never knew. I wasn't raised with a father. I didn't have any man in my house. Right? So I didn't really get, I got man principles in the world. Most of that stuff was based on carnality. Right? And it wasn't where it needed to be to develop the inner part of me so I could be in tune with my inner spirit. Right? So I didn't truly know what manhood was until I met Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And guess what? He found me. I wasn't looking for him. One of my elders asked me a question, what I call a divine question of the ages, that I couldn't answer. Which was, he asked me, what is your nationality? How many people in this room have been asked that? Remember that feeling when you was asked that? You had to start, y'all remember that?
Yeah.
You had to start thinking, like, wait a minute. I thought I knew it all.
American.
Right. No, I ain't no Negro.
African American.
A doggone show ain't colored. And you just had to start going through everything that they marked you with. Right? And at the end of it, most of our answers was what? I don't know.
African American.
I don't know. Then you opened yourself up to receive the first thing that you've ever been taught in your life. Think about it, you went through 12 years of school, if you went that far. Some of us went through 8 years of college. And plenty of debt.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Bear witness.
Went to university and learned nothing about the father of the universe. Right? But yet and still knew nothing, was taught nothing about your nationality. The very essence and core of who you are, that wasn't given to you. Right? So what was all that so-called education for? The prophet said, the longer you stay in school, you call them hoop jumpers. He said, the longer you stay in school, the more you defend, you're jumping. You're jumping through the hoop. Islam? Nothing wrong with going to get a good education, but you gotta know who you are before you get up in there.
Islam.
When you see the Chinese and he's in the university, he's in there to get that degree. Thank you, Brother Chairman, for that, not degrees. But that degree, right, one step at a time, which is the meaning of the word degree, step, right? He's in there to get that, to bring that back to his people.
That's right.
His society, her society.
That's right.
Not to go get a job and just work and just live in the Hamptons and just...
Come on, brother.
No. Right now, the Chinese, I know about China a lot tonight, but the Chinese are in every country in Africa right now.
True.
Every country in Africa.
Everyone.
And they're working deals with the Africans that are better deals than what the Europeans was doing.
Absolutely.
But it's still not in their best interest.
Nope.
Still not. Still exploiting, right? But it's a little bit better. A lot of African leaders are like, you know what's a little bit better than European?
That's right.
I'm gonna get my payday.
That's right.
Throw the people a few more crumbs and all is well. No, all is not well.
Nope.
Right? So you're gonna have to get these lessons. You're gonna have to straighten your brothers in the East out. Right? This ain't just for us. We're not the only ones that don't have it together. Earth has lost its mind since we take
Right,
it.
Mo.
Earth. Because you were Allah's successor in the earth. Right? You were the moral compass of earth. When you lost your way, so did everybody else. That's the fact. Right? You got to know your true north. Our prophet Noble Drali gave us back our true north. Right? Divinely prepared in due time to give us these lessons back. But moving forward, it says,
Teach them, Lord.
praise Allah, Lord. It says, instruction 2, therefore, unite, that's that word, unity, right? Unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And you look at the father's house as the temple. You look at your father's house as the temple. Right? Most of us have never experienced peace a day in our lives. Woo. You know what that does to your being when you were created as a peaceful spirit? That's what the word Muslim means. Muslim is not a religion, it's your nature. Quran of Mecca, chapter 30, verse 30, tells you that Islam is your nature, right? Because it's in your nature to be peaceful. Right now, y'all seem to be pretty peaceful, right? Allah knows best because you might be subconsciously worried about bills, or a relationship, some wayward children, grandchildren, whatever, right? But you seem to be at peace, right? And that's the natural state. You'll be in that state until somebody comes and agitates you. And at the point when they agitate you, now you have to have a set of principles and instructions to guide you through the agitation, right? To realize that the agitation itself is an illusion. It's not real. Are you watching the movie, right? Are you in the movie? Most of us get caught. You ever be watching a scary movie, and they, how they hook the soundtrack up, right? And it's like, the person goes on the corner, and you jump, right? That's the point when you became the movie. You forgot that you were watching it. It's just entertainment. You forgot, as Buddha said, right, to detach yourself from it, right? You became attached to it, right, and it's bound with your being. At that point, that's when your subconscious mind soaked all that up. Everything before that point, you were like a sponge. Islam?
Islam.
All right? Move forward. So, and when you separate in the world, remember. Remember is a powerful word. Because it's your carnal self that makes you forget.
Yeah.
In Arabic they have a word insan, right, which is the plural for the word nas, which means man or mankind. Right? Nisa is woman. Nas is man. Insan is humanity as a whole. But the root of that word is the word uns, which means to forget. Right? The name that they gave to Adam, right? You have Adam, and then if you go into Hebrew, they give the name Zakar. Zakar, right? Zakar in Arabic is the dhikr. Dhikr means to remember, right? This is what the Sufi does. Sufi takes the time to remember Allah's names, to remember Allah's presence. You know, there's a word husul in Arabic. Husul is remembering being in the prayer. Like when you do your Moorish American prayer, a lot of us just go into the prayer without taking into the presence that you're stepping into the realm of Allah, right? So the very presence of Allah is supposed to bring a humility over you, right? Imagine like being in the presence of someone great, whoever you deem that to be. You know, if it was your father or your uncle or your grandmother, right? There's someone whose wisdom was such, or their respect level was such, that when you were in their presence, it just made you like, you know, you want to be on your best behavior. So imagine you're coming into the presence of the sovereign of all sovereigns, right? So when you're on your 7 Moors, right? Now remember, you're in that environment, right? And that's what you're invoking, right? But the key is to walk in that energy, to magnetize yourself, so that way the chaos that's in the world, you repel it. Islam, where the Sufi knows that each of his steps is a prayer.
That's right, man.
He's performing salat with every step. Every time his eye blinks, he's performing salat. Every breath. If he appears to make a mistake, those that are watching him, it's a lesson in the mistake.
That's right.
Even his or her mistakes guide people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Y'all don't mind, it's the holy day, right?
That's right, more.
Y'all all right with that?
Yes, sir.
Praise Allah. Praise Allah. You don't get to talk about spiritual stuff. A lot of people get freaked out. It's no spookism.
No,
it is what it is.
That's right, more.
Yeah, I wonder how your forefathers created what they created.
That's right, more.
You know, and I have a drawing in that as well. I believe my book is over there. I'll look at it. Let's move forward, right? It says, now this is a key one right here, right? It says, let me take it from the top again, instruction 3. And when you separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thine own blood. Moors, you don't put no one before the Asiatic and the Moorish, right? We're here for all of humanity. True.
That's right.
True. But charity begins at home.
Yes, sir.
You can't raise nobody up. And we got problems in the house.
Yes, sir.
You know? And we got to stop airing our laundry out before the world. Dirty
Yes,
laundry.
sir.
We have a problem. Now, what do you think the prophet gave us our institution back for? We got a problem. We come in, might have to lock the door and put the curtains up. Get it figured out. But when you separate into the world, remember the relation that binds you to love and unity. We got to come out them doors as one. Islam?
Islam.
Let me show you how powerful our prophet is right now. Right now, all of you are different clans and tribes, and families. You might not have looked at it like that, but you're clans and tribes. I'm from New Jersey. Call out where y'all from. Where you from?
Arkansas.
Arkansas. Where you from, my brother?
New Orleans.
New Orleans. Where you from, my brother? Jersey. Where you from, my brother? Where you from, my brother?
Here.
Atlanta. Where you from, my brother?
Memphis.
Where you from, brother? You from Memphis?
I was born and raised.
Okay, I was gonna say you and this brother gotta have a conversation.
Yes, sir.
We still
My brother.
Fort Valley, Georgia.
Fort Valley, Georgia, sister. Chicago, sister. Praise Allah. Y'all from different parts of the country, but y'all only here for one purpose. You think that's an accident?
No, sir.
That's divine, right? And in all of our different traditions and customs of where we come from, right? Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought us in here, and we all civilized. You know, they usually say it's a problem, the Asiatics together, right? I don't see no problems.
No problem.
Seamless. Seamless, right? That's the power of nationality and divine creed, right? That's the appreciation that we should have for what our prophet represented. Islam? 16 short years he established something that outlived him. You have generations since the prophet, right? That all they know is being Moorish American. You know, lineages, the Cook Bays, you know, Graves Ills, the Hopkins Bays. Mighty powerful names that trace themselves back to the prophet through blood. I had an honor to meet Brother Charles Kirkman Bay's great granddaughter, Sister Naomi Kirkman Bay, who's a school teacher in DeKalb County.
Wow.
I met her taking a salsa class. I was trying to learn how to get my,
Go ahead, boy.
I was trying to get, learn how to get my boogie on, right?
Yes, sir.
But I went with my fez on, and when she see me with the fez, she was like, right? I was like, what's the sparrow about? But I ain't paying no mind. So the salsa teacher hooked us up. We were like in lines across from each other. And fate had it that she was right across from me.
Not strange.
It's not strange. Vloggers.
Yes, sir.
And I'm looking at us like, so we had to introduce ourselves. My name's Heru Ranesi-El. She said, how you doing? I'm Naomi Kirkman Bay. I was like, she said, yeah, we'll talk later. And if this video reaches Islam sister, we love you. And I'm like, so now I'm not thinking about dancing, I'm not thinking about the music, I'm all off step looking crazy. Afterwards, I sit down with him like, and she gets to tell, she goes into the history of what happened to her family.
Wow.
And more, when I tell you, I had tears in my eyes, Moors, right? She told me there was a period of time when they had to take the Bay off their name from what Moors were doing to each other. Islam, you know? So I couldn't come at her, you need to get back into, I had to greet her with love, Moors.
That's right.
Because her family was persecuted by Moors. Islam? See, there's a reason why the Prophet taught us you need to learn.
That's right, boy.
Learn to love instead of hate. He didn't just say love instead of hate. Learn to, which means that you had problems with love. He knew that coming to teach us. How do you think the Prophet perceived it when Allah instructed him that you got to go and raise them up? Woo! You think he was happy about coming to teach us? You ever had to teach somebody? You ever had to wake somebody up in the morning and didn't want to wake up?
Yes, sir.
Were they happy that you was trying to wake them up out of good sleep? 15 more minutes. 5 more minutes. Leave me alone. Huh?
Right.
That's the state our people in right now. They don't want to wake up because it's comfortable being asleep. And this whole phraseology they're using now about being woke is not good enough because you could be woke and still in the bed.
Yes, sir.
Yes, indeed.
You could be awake and still laying down.
Yes, sir.
I don't mean you up doing nothing. Islam? Phraseology. It says, so shall the fortunes of thy father continue. Excuse me, pardon. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. Not, you know, just this particular grandmother, or just this temple, right? Or the Moors gonna get it, and the Christians over here who love Jesus, they're not gonna receive no salvation. Or the Hebrew Israelites just gonna have it in them. It said the whole race.
Sure did.
Islam? So all this sectarian strife that we participate in Moors is Negro, black, and colored by whatever name you call it. Islam? It's the slavery condition. And until we solve it, Moors, things will be the same. Islam? I'd like to take a reading from Moorish literature. All right? I'm just only going to read a paragraph. Again, I'm striving not to burden you, boys.
Take your time, boy.
But it's hard because we got work to do.
We all right.
All right? I don't want y'all to start nodding out and stuff. You start telling too much truth, more start going to sleep on it. But it says, this is the Prophet. This is in the article, Moorish Leaders' Historical Message to America. 2 paragraphs. The Prophet said, it is a sad weakness in us after all to oppose our fellow men for their religious beliefs. And if there are angels who record the sorrows of men as well as their sins, they certainly know how many and deep are the useless sorrows that spring forth from such opposition. Possibly, love and time will cancel our ancient hatreds in this regard and prove that in mankind, tolerance is better than unwarranted opposition. That's Prophet Ali. Anything to the contrary notwithstanding. So if you demonstrate something to me that's opposite in that's foreign to me. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you demonstrate. I know what my Prophet said. I know my Prophet said I'm supposed to love all Moors.
That's right.
I'm supposed to love all Asiatics. You know, we're not demonstrating, that being separate demonstration. That's that one. And one more paragraph. It says, in connection with our religious aims and beliefs, we must promote economic security. The preaching of economic security among us is by no means as widespread and intensive as the circumstances demand. No one thing is more needed among us at this time than greater economic power, better positions for our men and women, more business employment for our boys and girls, and bigger incomes will follow our economic security. We shall be secure in nothing until we have economic power. A beggar people cannot develop the highest in them, nor can they attain to a genuine enjoyment of the spiritualities of life. Anyone ever try to practice your yoga when the rent is due? When the electric about to cut your power off? You ever try to work on your breathing? You ever try to work out? You got bills due? You get the aggression out when after you finish working out, it weighs right back on you, right? So that economic power piece is a powerful demonstration because it's like, and this may sound carnal. If it does, I apologize. But our people's loyalty can be bought. What do I mean by that? Y'all think our people love working for the European? Why do they work for them?
Because they pay a little more.
Speak up. You feel free to speak up. This is your institution. Speak up.
Because they allegedly pay a little more.
Islam. Okay. Sheik.
I feel like they have to in many cases.
Praise Allah. Anybody else?
Because the Europeans create a false security.
That's how they do.
Islam.
Definitely.
See, it's like the loyalty they have with the European is because they're eating off of it. Right? Now, I had a conversation with Brother Freeman Hill, the Islam Master, and we were demonstrating that a lot of the young brothers, you know, if you talk to them, not even if you talk to them, if we were in a powerful position to be able to walk up to them and be like, how much do you make a week? And what you do, whatever it is, legal or illegal, right? And they give you the amount, and you said, what if I paid you that amount? You come over here and work for us with benefits. Would you still keep doing what you're doing, brother or sister?
No.
Now you provided a choice. Now you provided an option, right? Most of us feel as though we don't have any options, right? Harriet Tubman said, I could have freed more of them if they knew they were slaves, right? Most of us don't know that we're in a enslaved situation,
Yes, sir.
working for someone else that is not of your pedigree.
Yes.
Now, there's nothing wrong with an honest dollar.
That's right, Mo.
So I'm not trying to give you that complex. So if you have a job and it's paying your bills, all praise is due to Allah.
That's right. Alhamdulillah.
However, I demonstrated this last week. Allah, when He sent you here with gifts.
That's right, Mo.
Every one of you have a gift that you came here to earth
Come on.
to show the world.
Come on, brother.
But when you locked up from 9 to 5 or whatever shift you're working, you can't demonstrate your gifts.
Come on, Mo.
You're a mercenary. You have to loan your gifts out for pay.
Woo!
And it doesn't benefit you or your people.
Yes, sir.
Islam?
Islam.
You know, and I think it was one of the Shakespearean plays. It said, to thine own self be true. We're horrible to ourselves. We lie to ourselves daily. We demonstrate hypocrisy and deceit daily, right? And that's the source of the depression. There hasn't been a time where, like, the depression has been so great. You know, suicide wasn't, you know, back in the day, suicide wasn't really a thing that we did. You all aware of that? Y'all check the suicide stats lately?
Yeah, it's hot.
Amongst youth,
Yeah.
children,
Yeah.
killing themselves.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I know I'm greater, but what I'm saying is not that, and I don't think I got it out. Matter of fact, yes I do. Islam?
Islam.
Right? That's how dire the circumstances are. But we take what we were given and play with it, and as a result, we suffer. Prophet says, he who is arrogant without power will be servile while there is no subjection. So technically, no one has their foot on your neck, technically. Right? Technically. It's not like the 50s, like the stories my mom told me.
Yeah.
My dad told me, my grandfather told me. Right? You can generally go out here unmolested, travel, get your money, do whatever you got to do. Right? But we get our finances, and what do you give back to?
Come on, brother.
To what cause are you contributing? Even, you know what, y'all talk bad about the Christians, but they give at least 10%.
Yes, sir.
We don't tolerate that bashing Christians. My mom was a Christian.
That's right.
Her mom was.
That's right.
That's why I got the basis for my morals.
Yes, sir.
Islam,
Islam.
you know, and church, contrary to popular, at church, it ain't all the Holy Ghost and singing the songs, that's beautiful. They also have business meetings.
Sure do.
The pastor got the council person on speed dial.
Sure does.
You know, many of the city council meetings, the community meetings they have are at churches.
In church.
Because the pastor has a relationship with the government.
Yep.
Islam?
Islam.
So us and all of our haughtiness, because we become Moorish American, I got a nationality, I got a fez, and y'all Negroes, whatever, you don't have at least what them Christians have.
Speak the truth, man.
Islam?
Islam.
So I don't want to hear it. You can't bring it to me. Islam?
Islam.
Right? You couldn't have brought it to our prophet. Right? Anybody read excerpts from the old Moorish Guide newspapers? You flip through there, it was advertisements for churches.
Sure was.
It was advertised for people that was doing perms and hot combs, and because this is what the Asiatics was doing. There was one article when the prophet gave out toys on Christmas to the Asiatic children.
Uh-oh.
Y'all didn't know that, did you?
Huh.
So y'all thought this was about hating everything else that wasn't Moorish. That wasn't the prophet. I don't know where we picked that up along the way.
Not the prophet.
It's not him. I know who my father is. You know, I'm one of those sheep that know the sound of his voice.
That's right.
You know, and I know this Moorish. I've been following this Moorish career for years on Facebook. I'm dying for the lower the meat so I can press his Moorish hand. You know, you did a demonstration a long time, if you remember. It was at one of the schools. He was one of the first Moors I saw demonstrate at a school to children. You know, and when I saw the Moor demonstrating, you know, he was, you know, he's demonstrating. I mean, he had the authority. Prophet says, when you speak with clearness and power. He was demonstrating the authority of the prophet to children, and they were looking at him not in ridicule. They were looking at him like, it's probably the first time many of them had seen a fast.
That's right.
And they're looking at the Moor like, wow, they were receptive to what the Moor was saying. It's because of him I knew that we could go to the public schools and be a success here in Atlanta.
Islam. Praise Allah.
So you never know who's watching what you're doing. The elder taught me, you don't see everybody that sees you. You got some sympathizers and some supporters waiting in the wings watching to see what you're going to do. They watch us to see if we really love one another or not. Or we just trying to find a fault so we can go run. There's a verse in that in the Quran, Mecca. It says, there are those that are with you, that, you know, while they're with you, they say they're with you, and when they go back to their friends, they say I was only mocking them. That's what Allah says, right? So you got to wonder why sometimes when some people come around, sometimes you don't know their intention. But it's not up to you to judge their intention. It's up to you to demonstrate love to them. Right? If you see a Moorish American that's full of hate and, you know, gall and all this negative stuff, give him a hug. Moors might need a hug. Give me, press his hand, more I love you. More Islam, I love you. I'm going to love you until you learn to love yourself.
That's right.
That's what our prophet gave us. Islam?
Islam.
What is the everlasting gospel?
Saving power.
It is a saving power that comes from where?
Allah.
From Allah. Through what? Through our ancient fathers. By what? His prophet. Whatever prophet was of that time.
Yes, sir.
Right? It's a gospel, which means good news, that is not measured up by time. Why it's called everlasting. The truth the prophet gave us is not a truth just for now. Technically, it's not even just a truth just for you. It's a universal truth, though it was for you. Why you can go to someone when you're demonstrating your principles, your virtue, someone who's from India, and demonstrate them, they recognize it right away.
Right.
What do you? And don't mess around and show them the prophet. They got out. You know, I showed the prophet to an Indian person one time. They were like, "Who is this Maharaja?" Automatically gave him the princely royal title. See, a lot of times because we've lost contact with that. We don't know what we have. It's not in the possessing of things, it's knowing how to use them.
Come on, brother.
I think I remember reading that somewhere.
Yes, sir.
Islam?
Islam.
Right? I'd like to read something to you, just another small drawing. This is probably my second to last reading. We're going to get y'all home to your
Take
family.
your time, man.
Islam. This is from one of our sheiks, Sheik Heru Ranesi-El. And it's a Moorish American Research Study Group Series, Volume 1 through 15. It's called the Moorish American Apologist. This is Volume 7. And in the spirit of giving, reinstilling that code back, he gives us some principles we should adhere to. And again, before I read this, when we meet each other for the first time, right? In my general opinion, which offers no proof of truth, I'm just sharing what I feel. We don't give each other that genuine love that we're supposed to. That high quality of love that we're supposed to. We're almost standoffish. I don't know where you come from, I don't know how you demonstrate the prophet, whatever. So I mean, what? You see what I'm saying? But that's not how the prophet told us to greet one another, right? So I like these principles right here because it kind of instills that. So number one, it says, matter of fact, I'll just take it from the side. It says the character of the Moorish American Muslim, our faith in motion, which is Islamism, right? It says in accordance with the words and principles of our illustrious prophet's teachings, all Moorish American Muslims are obligated to act in the manner prescribed by Islamic law. That's to demonstrate the acts of good character. Number one, a true Moorish American Muslim is one who is willing to forgive their brother or sister when their brother or sister makes a mistake. Two, a true Moorish American Muslim is always merciful and kind to their brother or sister. Three, a true Moorish American Muslim will always assist their brother or sister when their brother or sister is in a strange environment. This includes an environment where the people in it are adverse to their brother or sister's principles and lifestyle. Four, a true Moorish American Muslim must safeguard their brother or sister's secrets. That is, those secrets their brother or sisters reveal to them with the understanding that they will be kept confidential. Five, a true Moorish American Muslim will always accept their brother or sister's apology. Six, a true Moorish American Muslim will always extend their hand when their brother or sister is about to fall. Seven, a true Moorish American Muslim discourages any and all who talk about their brother or sister, especially when this talk is behind their brother or sister's back. 8, the true Moorish American Muslim will always fulfill their trust. 9, the true Moorish American Muslim will visit their brother or sister when their brother or sister is ill. 10, the true Moorish American Muslim will persist in giving their brother or sister good, sound advice. And there's 38 of them. I'm not going to beat y'all upside the head like that. But you see where the brother's going, right? Because again, until we start demonstrating these things, right? Let me ask you a question. If the Russians came to power tomorrow, you think they'd be any more merciful to you than previous slaveholders have been? Let's do this. I'll bring it home a little closer. If, for some strange reason, our brothers from Senegal, and I love my brothers from Senegalese brothers and sisters, if our brothers and sisters from Senegal came to power militarily, right, and they were here in America, you think they treat you any better than the European nations treat you? Why wouldn't they? I mean, we all Asiatic, right? Why wouldn't they? Because you are not demonstrating the principles and virtues that you're supposed to. Because when they look at you, they expect certain things out of you, especially you running around here like this. Islam? Because see, the thing is, when you put this on your head, this capstone, when you're walking around like this, there's the world expecting civilization to come from you. Right? It's not about what you say, it's what you do. Right? They're going to say, where is your Moorish American community that I may visit? What are you going to tell them? The floor is open.
Temple 19.
What are you going to tell them?
Temple 19. Well, my grand.
Temple 19? Yeah, my grand, right. My grand sheet, right. That's cool. That ain't what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the community.
Yeah.
Right? Do you know what the synagogue represents for the Jews? Everything.
Yeah.
It's the center of everything.
That's right.
Business, politics, conflict resolution.
Yeah.
Right? Like right now, 2 Moorish Americans fall out. What are we supposed to do? How do we solve it? What do we bring to dispute?
Facebook.
No, you have to tell me the truth, boy. It is when I press praise God. He just made me uncomfortable. Praise God.
Yeah.
Came right back to me. See how fast they came back? Yeah. Age of Aquarius. Right? But the point is that we're supposed to bring it to the temple, right?
That's right.
Before the Grand Sheik in the body. Right? The administration. Right? The Grand Sheik will say, okay, hold on, before y'all start. Just open up a prayer and invoke Allah's presence. To get it out of the realm of the ego.
Yeah.
Let's start there. Islam? Let's read the law. Let's remind everybody of the law. Right? Because that's an ancient thing. That's why you think that we start our meetings off with the reading of the law. In ancient Israel, it was that way. You come on Shabbat, and the law was read. You were reminded of the law. In Islam, all of our ancient cultures, we had to be reminded of the law. Right? In all its aspects, spirit and letter. Because you need both.
Yeah.
You can't have letter without spirit.
That's right.
You can't have spirit without letter. Islam?
Islam.
But we have to be reminded of it. And then, once everything's put in its proper place, right? Okay, let me hear your side. Go. Well, we had an agreement, didn't, Okay, so what happened? He didn't, Okay, hold on. Let's find that. I know exactly. Let's go to the chapter of justice. Boom, let's read through here. And they say, you could be right, and you could be wrong. Or you could be right, he could be wrong. Or both of y'all could be wrong. And at the point when both of y'all are wrong, both of y'all have to step up to the standard.
Yeah.
And renew your acts and amend your ways. Right? And as he said 2,000 years ago, once it's solved, go and sin no more. Islam?
Islam.
That's how civilized people govern themselves accordingly. Islam?
Islam.
That's why the rank of the rabbi is what it is in Jewish society. Islam? That's what the Grand Sheik was supposed to be.
Yeah.
The Grand Sheik was supposed to be.
Right.
Want someone almost, not above reproach, right? Because it's still human, right? But one who strive to dedicate their life to the unfoldment of the law and guiding others to it. That's what the Act 1 is all about, right? And where our temples fail is when that's not being employed and exercised. International law, like example, right now, let me hit this and then read one more example and we'll go to me. There was a book under here, the Moors in Spain, got the waterfront. Demonstrating the unity piece, it takes practice. Islam,
Islam.
you're going to come across Moors with different customs than you. You know, some of the stuff they demonstrate is going to look extremely foreign to you. Thank you. It's going to look very foreign to you, right? But sit back and be patient and listen to it, right? And if it's, you know, if it's on mark with the prophet, you'll hear the prophet in it. Right? And if there's something in the custom that you really just don't understand, you know, in an intelligent tone after the meeting, don't do it during the meeting because you'll cause confusion.
Right.
After the meeting, get an audience with the Grand Sheik and just ask. Islam, I was just wondering sincerely, like, why do you want to do such and such? I've never seen that before. And he might be able to take you to the Quran and show you where that temple originated that custom, which is permissible for us to do.
That's right.
Right? Prophet said each temple can have its own laws and customs as long as it's in conjunction with the laws of the Grand Major Temple. 47:14.
Mercy.
Right? Because the prophet knew we've never all been one thing the same way.
That's right.
Never in history.
Never.
So you got to acknowledge the diversity that's in us. And I'm careful with that word diversity because politically that's something else. Right? But the point is that we've always had different aspects to carrying out, to demonstrating the side of Allah that we see.
Absolutely.
You know? So some of us it's the Allah of love. You know? And I've learned some of that Allah of love from some of the Moors that I've had the honor to be around. Right? Some of us it's the Allah of might. Right? These are the brothers that, you know, all about security and the safety of the nation. Right? Training, martial arts, weapons, all this kind of stuff. We have, and that's what they vibrate on. And praise Allah, we definitely need that.
Yep.
Right? Others is their live thought. These are the ones that get down and crack books over there. The etymology of the top. You know, that's most Moors that we know. We love the philosophical, right? But the point is that, you know, we have to acknowledge those differences. We're one nation. We're one, right? And I'm not even on the argument of are we a nation state? I'm not talking about that. That's enough. We can do that later. I'm just talking about, like the prophet said in the prophet's words, of our side of the nation. Islam? Right? So we have to respect and accept that level of diversity. In the book, Moors in Spain, by Stanley Lane Poole, I just want to, like the Brother Chairman demonstrated, you know, as the prophet said, you know, backwards through the ages, masterminds trace themselves and thus they know, right? Let's go back into the mind state of our forefathers. I'm going to use what the chairman started. Everybody sit up straight. Plant your feet firmly on the ground. Okay? Take 3 deep breaths. One deep one. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Now reflect. I'm going to take you to a time. I'm going to take you backwards through the ages. I'm going to take you to a time when your forefathers ruled all they surveyed. I'm going to take you to a time when your forefathers occupied the land and saw the condition of the people there, and it pained them such to their heart that the people were dying from disease and filth and ignorance of religious principles, ignorance of governmental principles, that they saw fit to bring all these things to that land. I want to take you to a time of the Moors in Spain. According to this record, it says, even more wonderful though, not more beautiful, was the city and palace of Azahra, which Abdul Rahman III built as a suburb to Cordova. One of his wives, whose name was Azahra, meaning the fairest, to whom he was devotedly attached, once begged him to build her a city which should be called after her name. The great Caliph, like most Mohammedan sovereigns, delighted in building, and he adopted the suggestion. He at once began to found a city at the foot of the mountain called the Hill of the Bride, over against Cordova, and a few miles distant. Every year he spent 1/3 of his revenues upon the building, and it went on for 25 remaining years of his reign, and 15 years of the reign of his son, who made many additions to it. 10,000 workmen labored daily at the task, and 6,000 blocks of stone were cut and polished every day for the construction of the houses of the new city. Some 3,000 beasts of burden were daily used to carry the materials to the spot, and 4,000 columns were set up, many of which were the presents from the emperor of Constantinople, or came from Rome, Carthage, Sfax, and other places, besides the home marbles quarried at Tarragona and Almeria. There were 15,000 doors coated with iron or polished brass. The hall of the caliphs at the new city had a roof and walls of marble and gold. And in it was a wonderful sculptured fountain, a present from the Greek emperor, who also sent a caliph a unique pearl. In the midst of the hall was a basin of quicksilver. At either side were 8 doors set in ivory and ebony and adorned with precious stones. When the sun shone through these doors and quicksilver lake was set quivering, the whole room was filled with flashes like lightning, and the courtiers were covered in dazzled eyes. The Arabian authors delight in telling the wonders of this city of the fairest, Medina al-Zahra, as it was called after the caliph's mistress. We might go to a great length were we only to enumerate all the beauties, natural as well as artificial, contained within the precincts of al-Zahra. Writes one, quote, the running streams, the limpid waters, the luxurious gardens, the stately buildings for the household guards, the magnificent palaces for the high functionaries of state, the throng of soldiers, pages, and slaves of all nations and religions, sumptuously attired in robes of silk and brocade, moving to and fro through its broad streets, or the crowd of judges, theologians, and poets walking with becoming gravity through the magnificent halls and ample courts of the palace. The numbers of the male servants of the palace have been estimated at 13,350. To those whom the daily allowance of flesh meat, executive fowls, and fish was 13,000 pounds. The number of women of various kinds and classes comprising the harem of the Caliph or waiting upon them is said to have amounted to 6,314. The Slav pages, these were the European dwarves, and eunuchs were 3,350, to whom 13,000 pounds of flesh meat were distributed daily, some receiving 10 pounds each, and some less, according to their rank and station, exclusive of fowls, partridges, birds, and other sorts of game and fish. And I'll just stop there, Morris. So, reflecting on the grandeur of the type of building that we used to construct, right? They said this building had 15,000 doors on it. They said the walls were made of marble and gold. The walls and the ceiling were made of marble and gold, right? There's another section where it talks about another aspect, another room in there where the walls were made out of porcelain. Porcelain walls? How did we fall, Morris? And y'all think the European was that great that he defeated you when you were doing all of that? He didn't defeat you. You defeated yourselves. He couldn't defeat you. You defeated yourselves. You got so smart, you outsmarted yourselves. You got so smart, you start thinking that you were smarter than the prophets of Allah, who warned you of immutable law, which then in turn turns you into the prophet killers. Y'all know that, right? Y'all know we kill our own prophets. Y'all know that, right? Islam? Islam. Why? Because when a prophet arises on the scene, we know we got to change and don't want to. Islam? How did we fall? And why do we like to revel in a fallen state? Wow, all these, y'all know we still have builders amongst us.
Yes, sir.
Y'all know we have electricians amongst us.
Yes, sir.
We have master plumbers amongst us.
Yes, sir.
You know, when something goes out in the city, in a city like Atlanta, I left the lights go out, I see brothers fixing the lights.
That's right.
There's a pothole in the street, I see brothers fixing the streets.
Absolutely.
Islam? I can look at the politicians here in Atlanta, they're Asiatic. But when I look in the Asiatic communities, there's nothing. So where's the breakdown? Right? The breakdown is nationality and divine creed. The breakdown is hiding Prophet Noble Drew Ali in the back. You know, the downfall is when we take the prophet, right? The prophet's on the picture in somebody's house somewhere with some dust on it, up under some stuff, hiding the prophet. That's the breakdown, right? And the people will only get to know the prophet through you. They'll never get a chance to press the prophet's hand. He passed on. The prophet finished his task. Right? They meet the Prophet Noble Drew Ali through you. Right? So do your best at all times, Morris, to adhere to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Islam, Morris? Islam. Praise Allah. Sheik Rashid, may I have the great folder, please?
Good teaching.
Praise Allah. Y'all doing all right?
Islam.
Praise Allah. I promise we're going to get y'all out of here.
Take your time.
Right? Kidnapping is against the law.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
حي على الصلاة
Allahu Akbar.